A very good morning to all the viewers and listeners. I am Brajeshwar Sharma, Senior Advisor HR and IR of IVA. On behalf of IVA, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you and also to Ms. Paromita Iyer and Mr. Atul Malhotra, the Regional Managers of National Insurance Company Limited, who would be responding to our queries. We have collected the queries from member banks and will seek response from these senior functionaries of insurance company, which had accepted the task of servicing the country's largest health insurance policy. Before I venture into my endeavor, I would like to extend a very warm welcome and greetings to our Deputy Chief Executive, Sri Gopal Bhagat sir, and will request him to deliver the inaugural address.
Thank you, Sharmaji. Thank you very much. And good morning to all viewers and representatives of NICL. We have Ms. Paromita Iyer and Mr. Atul Malhotra with us, regional managers. And friends, as you know, this insurance policy is for retirees, especially, there are some observations, some feedback, some queries always there. So with a view to address those queries and to clarify the doubts which we have got on operations also, and at times we have some grievances. So we collected feedback from all the banks. We had communicated to all the banks to send their observations and feedback and pain points. We have collected all those points, and it turns out to be around 50 questions, in fact, which we have got. And we requested NICL executives to come here and discuss with us on all these points. So today we will be talking about all the observations which we have received and the queries or the new developments which NICL is proposing to do over a period of time. That also will be discussed. And please continue to give us your feedback. It will help us in making improvements in the operations of the policy, as well as correcting certain things which sometime we might have overlooked. So with this, I will not take much time. I will request our senior colleague, Shri Brajeshwar Sharmaji, to begin the interactive session on this insurance policy for bank retirees and their family members. So over to you, Sharmaji. I think we can start now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We had conducted a similar knowledge sharing webinar on 13th of October 2022 with the support of NICL, in which these dignitaries had responded to the queries initiated from the member banks. This was well received and well appreciated also. Enthused by this success, we decided to organize one more similar webinar for the benefit of the members as a sequel to the earlier one. Before I get into the Q&A session, I will request the two dignitaries, the two executives from NICL to present a PowerPoint through which they can showcase what NICL had been doing for this, for servicing this policy. Over to you.
Good morning.
We can upload
the Incurred fraternity, who have been our biggest clients and a big support group for national insurance endeavor to service the insured public. So as we on behalf of national insurance, I, along with my colleague, Mr. Atul Malhotra, I welcome all of you to this webinar, which has been so thoughtfully organized by the IBA management. And we do hope that today's session will help us to dispel a lot of queries and anxieties that are plaguing all of you and that have been, I would say, pain points. And I hope that towards the end of this session, all of us will come together to a certain level of understanding where we do understand your problems and the challenges that you face. And I hope we will be able to tell you what we are doing and how we are doing. And if there are certain unpleasant decisions, so we will be able to tell you that why exactly those decisions are being taken. Okay, it is, but let me just clarify that it is certainly not our lookout or our endeavor to create any kind of difficulties for our very esteemed insured group, which is the largest one in this country. But there are certain restrictions of the policy terms and conditions which may not be to the liking of all the bankers and esteemed insured public. Thank you. So we start with the PPT.
Can we go to next slide?
As we have been maintaining all the time, this is the biggest group mediclaim policy under one umbrella, IBA policies. And this is providing health coverage to more than 26 lakh lives. So this is a brief overview of the type of policies and the number of people who are covered. Employee-based policy, there are 23 banks and one IBA management policy. So that is 24 number of policies. The number of primary members is 5,83,321. Dependents that are covered are 15,38,300. Total lives covered under the employees based policy is 21,21,621. Employees top up 14 banks and of course IBA, they have opted for the top up policies. 29,017 primary members are enrolled along with their 92,802 dependents. Total lives covered under the top up for employees top up policy is 1,21,819. Retirees with domiciliary, 22 banks have opted for this. Retirees from 22 banks have opted for with domiciliary policies, 954 primary members along with their 581 dependents. Total 1,535 lives are covered. Retiree without domiciliary are 30 policies, 1,51,852 retirees along with their 1,21,877 dependents. Total lives covered are 2,73,729. Retirees top up, 30 banks have opted for this. 76,341 members along with their 60,221 dependents have enrolled for this facility. 1,36,562 lives total are covered under the retirees top-up policy. Total 120 policies we have issued. Head count is 8,41,485. Actually, like there is an overlap in the employees base and top-up, and retirees with domiciliary, with domiciliary and top-up. But okay, under all the policies covered, we are servicing 26,55,266 lives.
Next slide.
Good morning, everyone. In this year's policy, we have got 8 TPAs to cater to the IBA policies based on the request received from most of the bank HR of the banks that they wanted one bank and one TPA. So the number of the TPAs were reduced from 11 to 8 in this policy, which were there earlier. 11 were there in the previous policy. Based on that, the 8 TPAs have been allotted different banks. Like Ericsson has been given Bank of India, IBA Association, Bank of Maharashtra, and PNB Paribas. Accordingly, Heritage was allotted Punjab National Bank, SBI, LHU Chandigarh, and J&K Bank. HITPA was given Union Bank of India. Mediassist was allotted Indian Bank, Catholic Syrian Bank, Dhanlakshmi Bank, and Kotak Mahindra Bank. Same way, SAFE was given South Indian Bank, Karnataka Bank, UCO Bank, Federal Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Karur Vyasa Bank. FHPL was given Bank of Baroda, Citibank, RBL, and SBI LHU Jaipur. Same way, MT India was allotted with Bank of America, Central Bank of India, Punjab and Sindh Bank, Nainital Bank, Standard Chartered Bank. Raksha was given Canara Bank, SBI LHO Amravati, SBI LHO Bengaluru, SBI LHO Tiruvananthapuram. While there was some delay in aligning of the TPA for the 22-23 policies, we maintained that the cashless claim for that period of the October 22 was seamlessly catered by the TPA who were servicing the banks earlier.
There have been a constant request for increase of the cashless network across India by all banks, their individual members and retirees associations. So we'd just like to inform you that ever since National has taken this policy in 2021, total 5,790 hospitals have been added in these two and a half years by the in the IBA policy network by our various TPAs. Heritage had, in the beginning of this current year's policy, they had 7,887 hospitals under their cashless network, and which has risen to 8,293. HITPA had 6,765, which has risen to 7,865. MD India had 10,155, which has risen to 10,692. MediAssist had 9,289, which stands at 10,840 as on date. Safeway had 8,041, which has risen to 8,768. Raksha had 7,253, which has risen to 7,467. FHPL had 8,186, which has now risen to 8,568. Ericsson had 10,828 in their network, which now stands at 11,701. And I would like to add that apart from these network hospitals, on case-to-case basis in emergency situation, the TPAs have included, on the basis of very basic documents, they have on the spot given cashless authorization in case of emergency situation like road traffic accident, cardiac arrest, or even high-risk pregnancies. And NICL has continued to honor those one-off requests by paying to the hospital within the time limit that we had promised to them, so that, and those TPAs have then gone ahead and included, based on our prompt services, the TPAs have been able to include those very hospitals also immediately in the network within very limited time.
Friend, as the cashless is a very important factor in this policy, our endeavor from the day one has been to increase the cashless percentage. We know the bank fraternity always wants the best of the treatment, and when they don't have to give out anything from their own pocket. Our endeavor has made this policy more effective and more cashless prone. Accordingly, we would like to share with you on an average, the proportion of cashless claims based only on the IPD claim has been higher than 60%, the general average. The cashless of the TPAs are given out here. Heritage had 67%, HITPA had 66%, MD India had 64%, MediAssist had 70%, Safeway had 71%, Raksha had 59%, FHPL had 57%, Ericsson had 59%. And still we are telling our TPAs, and we have been trying to get this increase. Our target is to achieve 70 to 75% target to have the cashless in this policy.
There have been a lot of queries and anxieties over the turnaround time for cashless processing, and also processing of the reimbursement claims. We know that sometimes on some one-off cases or maybe a few cases, there has been a delay due to various factors. But overall, we would just like to present the current situation. The average cashless processing time is around 70 minutes, which is consistently less than 120 minutes, which is the stipulated as per the MOU across all TPAs. And the turnaround time for reimbursement claims from the date of receipt of last document is 4 to 5 days. And if we go by the individual statistics of the TPAs, then Heritage takes about 45 minutes. HITPA is taking about 60 minutes. MD India on an like overall it is 120 minutes. MediAssist is also maintaining 120 minutes. Safeway 50 minutes. Raksha is again 40 minutes. FHPL, this is for cashless authorization. FHPL is about 100 minutes and Ericsson is somewhere around 75 minutes. This is the average. This should not be taken as the benchmark. The turnaround time for reimbursement claims, Heritage is taking about 7 days from the receipt of last document to uploading for settlement in our file, in our system. HITPA takes about 4 days. MD India takes about 3.5 days. MediAssist is taking 5 days. Safeway is taking 6 days. Raksha 5 days. FHPL it is between 2 and 3 days. And Ericsson again is at 4 days.
The incurred claim ratio in this year for 22-23 in 120 policies is inching towards breaking even. Utilization in employee policies heavily impact the outgo. As per policy type in employee base, the ICR, which is gross ICR, which includes the incurred but not reported claims and the TPFC. In employee base, it is 89.39%. In employees top up, it is 76.13%. In retirees with domiciliary, it is 110.84%. And retirees without domiciliary, it is 403.69%. And retirees top up, it is 102.92. If we club out the all, we are close to 96.25%.
Thank you. That will be all for as far as the PPT is concerned. Now we are ready to respond to the queries that have been received by IBA management. Over to
Thank you. Thank you, Paromita ma'am and Atulji, for beautifully presenting what NICL had been doing for the betterment of this policy. And some of the efforts that you have exhibited right now can definitely be lauded, like increasing the cashless, then the turnaround time. There is always a room for improvement, and we'll request you, it can be further improved if it was possible. So just briefly, I'll touch upon this policy has its origin in the 10th bipartite settlement joint note that was signed on 25th May 2015, wherein a group medical insurance scheme in lieu of hospitalization expenses reimbursement scheme for serving employees and dependent family member was signed between the Apex unions and IBA on behalf of the bank's management. Since then, this policy is being continuously arranged every year well in time by following a transparent process through RFP without involvement of any agency. In today's webinar, we have requested, as you know, the senior executives from NICL to respond to the queries which we have received through various modes. We have collected, collated, and requested them to respond one by one. We will read out all the queries sent by the retiree community and the banks and request Madam Iyer and Mr. Malhotra to respond. Gentlemen, the recordings of this live streaming shall be available on YouTube, which may be used as a reference by the retirees who could not join right now. Thanks. And now I'll start posing some comfortable, some not so comfortable questions to the representatives of NICL. Ma'am, the first question from our member bank is that the network hospital for all TPAs may be clubbed so that the beneficiaries can avail cashless treatments at hospitals, which will be a win-win situation for all the stakeholders, that is beneficiaries, TPAs, and insurance and bank.
Sharma sir, thank you. Before I reply to this question, I would just say that please rest assured, IBA policies, the members, the banking fraternity, the retirees, all of you are very precious to us, and our team, National Insurance, we are totally committed to serving you to the best of our abilities. And so far as questions are concerned, we are ready to take the rough with the smooth.
Thank you.
So, okay. The idea of having a club together network of all the TPAs is a very good idea, but different TPAs negotiate their packages with network hospitals depending on their own footfall or requirement in a particular geography. which I would explain because the TPAs are servicing not only IBA policies but also other policies. So they negotiate the packages with particular hospitals depending on their own footfall for all the policies put together, which gives them a greater bargaining power. And so that's why there might be a bit of a difference in the strength of network and also the packaging rates. But this is certainly a very good idea, and this possibility can be explored further, provided all TPAs agree to come to the board. We will certainly put this idea to them, but it has to be a mutually agreed decision. Thank you, sir.
The next question is regarding the premium amount that has been consistently rising substantially and making the policy increasingly unaffordable for both the employees as well as the retirees. That is another question from one of the member banks. We'll request Mr. Malhotra.
Sir, the premium under this policy has been determined on the basis of the claims experience of the previous policy. That has to be taken consideration, and the medical inflation is another factor. This being a RFP policy, tailor-made policy, the claim experience is very vital in deciding the premium calculation for the subsequent year.
Okay. Another similar question. Individual policies available in the market have higher sum insured with lower premiums. So how can you explain the layman about this? Because they had been comparing the policies from the market. How can you explain this anomaly?
So pricing of each individual product as well as the IBA policy, it is all based on the coverage that is provided by that particular policy, the sum insured, what is opted for, or the sum insured range that it offers, and as well as the past experience in that entire segment. For individual policies, it is the entire segment of that kind of policies which counts, and for group policies, it is the particular policy, how it has been behaving in the last 1 year or maybe in the past 3 years. So those things are taken into consideration when we fix the pricing. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So the next question is related to the change of the TPAs. And last year we had in this policy, we had experienced that for a brief period there was a confusion which TPA is going to be serving of which bank. So how this confusion or this misunderstanding can be resolved? A similar question has been put forward by one of the member banks that the regular change of TPAs has hampered the medical services offered to the beneficiaries at large due to teething issues, change of process, systems followed by the incoming TPAs. So that is one thing that we'll request you to have addressed in future also, but how we are going to respond to this query?
Your point has been very well noted. We agree and apologize for all the inconvenience caused in delay our change. We will try to take care of it at the time of renewal. Actually, the appointment of TPA depends upon the tender condition and principle of equitable distribution of work as per the performance of the TPA in the previous policy and based on their infrastructure which is available with that.
Okay, thank you.
But this time there was the delay happened.
Yeah.
So there was inconvenience. So
Yeah.
There
and
was
this
a month's delay.
month's delay.
Once.
And this issue was highlighted. We had taken it up with the higher authorities also. Somehow there were some systemic issues, I think, where
Yes,
which
sir.
could be resolved ultimately. And I think this will not happen again.
No, sir. Our board has also actually, we are a board-driven company and there were certain decisions which our board had to step in. So that's why there was a delay, but we have also conveyed to our higher management for further conveying to the board that with such a large group, such delays should not happen because it creates a lot of anxiety for the insured and a lot of challenges for the servicing office. So we are sure that this year nothing such.
Thank you. Another query. At times, our patient face difficulty on visit to the network hospital. That is, the said hospital is not having tie-up arrangement with the servicing TPA. So how you are going to resolve this issue so that this type of situation doesn't arise in future?
So we agree that such situation has arisen at the initial stages of this policy, 22-23 policy, because there was a drastic change in the overhaul in the entire TPS setup. But anyway, as on date, we have taken feedback from all the TPAs. We have been following up with them. So the current TPAs have addressed this issue to a large extent. I think within 3 months of the 3 or maybe 4 months of the policy, wherever there were hospitals which were in the previous TPS hospital and they didn't have in the network, they have gone out of their way and they have included those TPAs, those network providers in their own network. And in cases, as I explained earlier, in case of emergency, they have been, even if the negotiations were not yet completed, but on case-to-case basis, they have extended cashless facility. But I do agree that there had been some challenges in the early stages of the policy, but I'm sure that it has been addressed by now. And in case there are still some creases to be smoothened out, we'll certainly do it.
Good. So it means, madam, we are open to emergency kind of situations.
Yes, sir.
So our policy holders can approach TPS.
Yes, sir.
And whenever there is such need. So these things are also being looked at and due help will be provided.
Yes, sir. Whenever there is an escalation, Mr. Malhotra or I, we are immediately responding to them. And if required, we are giving our own commitment at our own level that the payment will be released within a certain date we fix. And we see to it that the payment is released to the hospital so that the hospital also feels assured in coming to our network.
Yeah, for future services
Yes.
also they can.
Yes, sir.
So that's quite a humane side of servicing the policy. That's good. Another query is related to the turnaround time for reimbursement of claims that should be followed. And some of the member banks might have experienced some inordinate delay in the payment results into the hardships of the employees as well as the retirees.
We have, as such, most of the TPAs are processing the claim as per the TAD prescribed and referring it to the insurance company for payment. But there may be certain cases where there may be an inordinate delay in doing that one. But actual charges from the receipt of the last query reply. That is a very important thing because we will request, we have asked the TPS to update their positions with the respective insured and the HR of the respective banks also.
So can we discuss some of the deficiencies, which you would have seen because of which the reimbursement is delayed? Like, are there some common list of, do we have such a question here? Common issues like mistakes which our insured people commit while filing the claim?
Mainly to say there are deficiencies in documents or clarification required from the treating doctor. Sometimes the receipts are not there. So once all the documents are received at the TPA, they do the processing and issue a query letter. The moment all queries are not replied in parts or it's given in piecemeal, the moment everything is given out on the receipt of the last query reply, then the TAT period actually commences. We have asked the TPAs to educate the insured about it, and we are maintaining an eye on it. And more or less, initially there were problems because of change of the TPA, but now things are improved, sir.
So can we, list down all those deficiencies which are observed by the TPAs or the NICL so that it can be a guiding factor for other insured people in future?
Sure, sir.
So they can go through that and they can avoid those kind of, mistakes which they are committing.
So general type of deficiencies we can just share with you.
Yeah. So we can put it on the website.
Sure, sir.
It will be beneficial for all the policyholders.
Earlier also we had shared one FAQ, I think, which has been posted. So there also a list is there. If required, we can always, we are certainly open to giving another guiding, maybe a list, which will help.
Good. Thank
Yes.
you. Regarding the cashless claims.
Here, Sharmaji, I think we have some issue with the
bandwidth.
So due to the live streaming of the YouTube, there is some network problem, which I think we'll have to announce that live streaming can be stopped and the record of the meeting will be made available on viewers on the YouTube itself on the same channel. So for some reasons, I think we will have to stop it here. My apologies to all the viewers for the inconvenience. We will put this conversation will continue to be there, and we'll put it on the YouTube as early as possible. So friends, for the time being, we'll have to discontinue. Our sincere apology for this. This is some technical reason we have to stop it here. Thank you very much.
The next question